Hello everyone. So I had a viewer ask me a question about the difference between ISFJs and adaptive INFJs. More precisely, that person was asking me, how can we tell the difference? Since I argue in a lot of my videos that, the adaptive submissive INFJs, who's the INFJ who wants to get along with other people, who wants to be accepted, who's in a sense suspicious of their own individuality and who is concerned not to stand out, who does a lot in order to not stand out and just get along with others, is lost in the midst of others, we might say, using existential language from Martin Heidegger. I do say that person can be confused, with an ISFJ. But if so, then can we still tell the difference? If we're a little bit observant, if we're equipped conceptually to tell the difference, can we in fact tell? And the answer to that would be yes, we can tell. We can very much tell because there are quite revealing differences between the two types. Number one, if you're a little bit perceptive, this is something I said before, you will notice that the adaptive submissive INFJ is not completely authentic. And when I say that they're not completely authentic, I don't necessarily mean that they're dishonest or that they're insincere or that they will mislead you or that they are shallow, It's more so that people sense there is a disconnect between what's really going on inside a person's mind and what they're saying and the way they're acting. A lot of people are intuitive in that way. So they're inauthentic to themselves. Often it comes from a sense of fear and a sense of pain, a sense of things, life, social life being too much. But again, they're adapting to something that is not really them. And the strain that results from this will be perceived. It will be perceived as a kind of lack of authenticity that you will not see in a normal ISFJ. It will also be perceived, perhaps even more noticeably, as a form of anxiety, as a form of discomfort. It takes effort. Again, there's this notion of social strain. Like, yeah, sure, you think you can adapt, and you do adapt, more or less, but it's costing you something. And of course it's costing you something, since in the process you're repressing your individuality, you're repressing your and I worldview, you repressing in some sense what makes you you. You're dissolving you in the hope that that dissolved or watered down version of you is sufficiently watered down that it won't shock other people, that it won't make other people judge you, and will make them embrace you, right? Again, that there's a form of existential anxiety here that is not going to be as present in an ISFJ. Of course, someone might then say, yeah, but sure, there's going to be anxious ISFJs out there too. There's going to be ISFJs that are kind of uncomfortable, that are kind of, just don't really feel like they are being completely themselves. Why can't that not happen to ISFJs? Of course. But I want to say, right, and I'm sure I'm not the only one here who has had many ISFJ colleagues, including, as far as I'm concerned, colleagues that have shown a lot of interest in my activities. Even though I'm talking about work colleagues that I meet at the office, my interest in personality and MBTI and these things is, I can't really repress it when I talk about it. And people who often then want to take the test, well, actually, you'd be surprised how often, they turn out to be ISFJ, and it shows that ISFJs actually are often interested in the test, but they're not necessarily interested in deep theorization divorced from what they perceive to be immediate reality. That being said, I have had many ISFJ colleagues, including ISFJ colleagues who have been somewhat anxious by their own admission, and you'd notice it when they took the 16 personalities test. And often I tell people try that one first because it's an introduction. It's not the best one, but at least it's a way of kind of tasting what this is all about. There's a fair few that really come out as 75% turbulent, which is a variable that captures something like big five neuroticism, right? So I'm telling you that these people are still very unlike INFJs in the sense. There is an anxiety somewhere, which often translates into a kind of lack of assertiveness or self-confidence, but they're still very much comfortable in the environment. And with the adaptive submissive INFJ, it is primarily the environment that is a source of anxiety, right? So look at the environment as a whole, say the office environment. Is this person like really like a fish in the sea, and they happen, next to that, they happen to have maybe self-esteem issues, there's self-confidence issues, negative emotion, or is it the environment itself that feels like it is a limiting variable for the person, and you will have your answer. Okay, so these were like some tidbits about how you can tell apart an ISFJ and an INFJ, specifically an adaptive submissive INFJ. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you have insights. Give me a like. And don't forget that if you want to explore these topics in more detail, my book, The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in the Modern World, is the place to go. Talking about how INFJs can find happiness, can find value, purpose, and spirit in a world that we often feel is hostile to us, okay? So to go more in-depth into those topics, check out The Infinite Soul. And if you have it, love it, but haven't reviewed it yet, be aware that reviewing the book, even just a couple of sentences, really helps with the referencing. So please consider it, okay? I benefit from it. The prequel to The Infinite Soul is, of course, the Ecstatic Soul, on the INFJ mind in particular, and the inside of INFJ consciousness, how it manifests interpersonally and existentially. Got lots of reviews, it's kind of a classic, so I encourage you to check it out. The links are below. Choo-choo, they go together, prequel and sequel. And don't forget that the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page. You guys have been, supporting me for a while now, and there's been more people supporting me. You keep the channel going. Any support is deeply appreciated, anywhere from $3.50 a month. And what I wanted to share with you as well is that, you access bonus content, you can suggest new video, topics for videos and so on. There's a community that's growing there. I'm going to start doing more in-depth topics, like about stuff, INFJ stuff or type stuff, philosophical stuff, all intertwined, that I think is like perhaps a little bit too, it's a very intensive. So I'm going to release that as bonus content for my Patreon community. So if you're interested, that's also a way of accessing that kind of content. Okay. Thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye-bye.